I burned the USB and fried the server with an EMP, then Kevin knocked like nothing ever happened. Hi, I'm Mason, 34, and 3 days ago I opened a dusty storage locker in rural Arizona and found something that's already ruined lives and might destroy mine next. I was 6 months behind on bills when I bought that locker. It wasn't supposed to be a big deal, just a last-ditch Hail Mary move to flip old junk for quick cash. I'd watched too many YouTube channels about auction flippers striking gold in forgotten garages. Desperation will do that to you. Makes you believe you're one locked door away from salvation. So when I saw the online listing, Unit 146, unpaid for 18 months, located in a half-dead storage lot outside Yuma, Arizona, I bid $260, sight unseen. I drove my truck out there 2 days later. The whole place looked like a post-apocalyptic Dollar General. Dust-covered, chain-link fences sagging, one old guy in a lawn chair out front sipping from a fast food cup. When I gave him the receipt, he barely looked up. "Locker's yours. Take it all or leave it." No problem. Until I lifted the roll-up door and saw what was inside. At first glance, disappointment. Piles of cardboard boxes, a broken fan, half a treadmill, a busted guitar case. But then, near the back, something caught my eye. A heavy storage chest, old, scuffed, built like it didn't care about time, with military-grade padlocks sealing the front. I should have left it right there. Instead, I texted my friend Roman, ex-Army, paranoid by nature, and told him what I'd found. 10 minutes later, he was on FaceTime, squinting at the lock. "Dude," he said, leaning closer to the screen, "that's a Pelican-style military storage chest retrofitted with civilian padlocks. That thing's not supposed to be out in the wild. You open it yet?" "Not yet." Roman whistled low. "Better call me back when you do, and be careful. If it's sealed that tight, there's a reason." So, naturally, I grabbed a crowbar and started prying. Took me 20 minutes and a bloody knuckle. When the last padlock snapped, I took a breath, cracked the chest, and froze. Inside was a thick, hard-sided black case, like the kind you'd carry rifles in. But it wasn't a rifle. It was a server tower, custom-built, military-style housing. No labels, no ports, except a recessed power jack and a strange triangular port I'd never seen before. And on top, a sealed manila envelope. On it, one word, stamped in red ink: redacted. I took one step back, because suddenly this wasn't storage war treasure anymore. This was something someone had locked away on purpose, and I just opened it. I brought the server home. Yeah, I know, dumb move. But it was late, the locker was paid for, and my brain was still whispering, maybe it's valuable tech, maybe it's just old government surplus junk. Besides, curiosity always beats caution when you're broke. I set it down in the corner of my studio apartment, away from my desk, like it might explode if I looked at it wrong. Then I opened the envelope. Inside were 3 things. First, a black and white photo dated Jan 2009. 2 soldiers standing in the desert beside a satellite dish half buried in sand. No names. One of them had their face scratched out with pen. Second, a folded topographic map of northern Iraq with circles marked in red ink around what looked like caves. Third, a single sheet of paper with typed instructions. Do not connect to public grid. Use is isolated power only. Do not attempt remote access. If boot failure occurs, destroy immediately. Failure to comply constitutes a violation of Code 39.47 under Title 10. Title 10? That's the section of U.S. law about the armed forces. I read it again and again. Then I did the opposite of what it said. I plugged it in. Not to my main wall. I had an old portable battery bank from my drone hobby, so I connected it to that, figuring it counted as isolated power. The tower hummed. Lights flickered. A faint motor spun up inside. No display, no login screen, just a low mechanical whir. Then, my Wi-Fi cut out. My phone went dark.
The lights in my kitchen blinked even though the tower wasn't even plugged into the wall. Every screen in my apartment, TV, laptop, tablet, flashed the same thing. Hello, Mason. And I swear to God I hadn't typed my name into anything. The server fan kicked louder. One of the panels on the side popped open like it was spring-loaded. Inside was a USB stick, taped to it for recipient only. Insert and follow prompts. My hands were actually shaking now. I should have stopped. I should have called someone. Instead, I grabbed the drive, stuck it into my laptop, and everything changed. The second I inserted the USB, my laptop screen went black, then white, then text started typing itself in real time like a ghost was at the keyboard. User access granted. Secure node Jericho 7. Last sync October 18th, 2009. Begin recovery sequence. Yes, no. I didn't touch anything, just watched. Recovery sequence initiated. The laptop van kicked into overdrive. Folders appeared on the screen, hundreds of them. Codenames Deep Coil, Prism Jacket, Exodus Path, Nocturne 4. Each one had subfolders labeled with places I recognized from news headlines. Fallujah, Tora Bora, Aleppo, Riyadh. Then the videos started popping up. I clicked one. A shaky helmet cam feed loaded. Night vision. A two-man squad entering a cave somewhere, dark and narrow, probably from the map. Then came screaming. Something blurred. Gunfire. The feed cut to static. I backed out, opened another. This one showed a windowless lab filled with cables, generators, and what looked like a suspended human body inside a cylindrical tank. The timestamp said 2007. Then another. This one showed a desert excavation. Unearthed tech, not ours. Alien tech. Or something worse. I slammed the laptop shut. The USB ejected itself. Literally, it popped out of the port and clattered to the floor. Then the lights in my apartment cut completely. Total darkness. Before I could move, my phone lit up again, but it wasn't a call. It was the camera, on, without being opened, and it was filming me. I yanked the battery from the phone and stood there in the dark, chest heaving, trying not to vomit. Then my apartment intercom buzzed. 2:14 a.m. No one had ever buzzed me that late. I crept to the door, stayed silent. The buzzer went again. Then a voice through the speaker. Mason Carter, we need to talk. Not a question, a command. I didn't respond. The voice continued. If you're holding the contents of Unit 146, you have already violated federal containment protocol. Open the door. I backed away slow, because I never told anyone the number of the locker, never gave my real name to the guy at the storage lot, and I sure as hell hadn't told anyone what was inside. They already knew. I didn't move, just stood in my dark apartment staring at the door like it was a loaded weapon. The intercom buzzed again, this time with less patience. Mr. Carter, we are authorized to use force if you do not comply. My brain scrambled. Authorized by who? What force? What even was that server? I didn't wait to find out. Grabbed the USB, stuffed it into a sock, tied it off, shoved it into the back of my freezer, grabbed the server tower and dumped it into the old canvas duffel I used for camping. Barely fit. The thing weighed a ton. The intercom buzzed again, longer this time. Then a new sound, metal on metal. Someone was picking the building's front lock. I had seconds. Slid open my window, first floor, thank God, and dropped the duffel into the bushes. Followed it out in one motion, scraped my knee on the sill, landed hard, it didn't stop. I sprinted around the side of the building toward the parking lot, praying my truck would start. A black USV turned the corner behind me. No headlights, just speed. I ducked behind a dumpster and watched it slow to a crawl near the building entrance. Two guys got out, civilian clothes, but way too clean, way too tactical. Earpieces. One had what looked like a biometric scanner in his hand. They weren't cops.
They weren't repo guys. They were looking for me. I stayed low until they entered the building. Then I crawled to my truck, tossed the duffel in the back seat, slid behind the wheel, turned the key, thank you God, and backed out slow with the lights off. Once I hit the road, I drove without thinking. East, desert highway, empty stretches, no plan, no map, just away. My phone stayed off, laptop in the back. Every light in the cab felt too bright. By dawn, I was 180 miles from Yuma and shaking so hard I had to pull over. Parked behind an abandoned gas station outside Quartzsite and finally let myself breathe. I opened the laptop again.
Even offline, the folders from the USB were still there, but something new had appeared. One plain text file, dated 10 minutes before the intercom buzzed. They are not government. Do not trust anyone. There's a second copy. Find Kevin. He'll know what to do. No signature. No sender. Just that. I closed the file, looked up at the rising sun and whispered, "Who the hell is Kevin? And how many people were already looking for him? I didn't know any Kevins. Not in my life, not at work, not since high school, and even that guy was more into Magic the Gathering than Black Ops data servers. So I did what any idiot running for his life does. I opened the laptop and searched the entire USB drive for the name. One hit. Kevin_K_32.jpg. I opened it, expecting a mugshot or a military ID. What I got was a grainy photo of a guy standing outside a diner. Plastic sign above the door read Krause's Grill. Late afternoon light. A pickup truck in the background with a broken taillight. The guy was mid-30s. Beard, sunglasses, army surplus jacket, holding a coffee like it might bite him. Looked like a vet who'd seen too much and now just wanted his eggs and quiet. Zoomed into the license plate. Arizona plate. First three letters, KRA. That gave me something. I opened my phone again. Stupid, risky, but I had no choice, and turned on airplane mode, just enough juice to use GPS. Typed in Krause's Grill. 3 matches in the entire state. One of them just 2 hours away in a ghost town strip of I-10 called Dateland. I'd driven past it a dozen times, never stopped. Nothing there but a gas station, a pistachio stand, and apparently one dive diner that might hold the key to whatever the hell I was now part of. I left Quartzsite before noon, stopping once to buy a burner phone at a truck stop. No name, no data plan, just voice and text. By 1:30, I rolled into Dateland. Krause's Grill looked exactly like the photo. Peeling paint, cracked windows, neon sign flickering like it was dying in slow motion. There were only 3 cars in the lot. One of them, the same truck from the photo, taillights still busted. He was here. I parked 2 blocks away, walked in slow, heart pounding like a bass drum in my ears. The bell over the door jingled. The waitress behind the counter didn't even look up. Anywhere you like. I scanned the room. Booths half full. Old man reading a paper. A couple arguing softly near the window. And in the far corner, jacket, beard, coffee, was him. Kevin. I slid into the booth across from him before I could overthink it. He didn't flinch. Didn't blink. Just sipped his coffee and said, "Took you long enough." "What is this?" I asked. His eyes finally met mine. "What's in that server," he said, "was never supposed to leave Iraq." He leaned forward. "And now that it has, we're all already dead. The question is how long we have left." I stared at him. Kevin didn't blink. "You said we're already dead," I said. "Maybe don't start with that." He cracked the faintest smile. "You plugged it in, didn't you?" I didn't answer. He took that as a yes. That tower, the one you found, was part of an off-books operation called Jericho_7, built to store and isolate anomalous data recovered from combat zones. He leaned in. Specifically, digital signatures from locations that don't obey normal physics. I raised an eyebrow. What does that even mean?
It means our government stumbled onto something during the Second Iraq War. A data stream buried inside a mountain. Not radio, not binary, not even language. Something else. It didn't just transmit, it reacted, learned. It rewrote whatever touched it. Code, yes, but also minds. You're saying it's alive? I'm saying it's hostile and contagious. I leaned back, heart pounding. And you people stored it in a tower? Locked it in a crate and buried it in a storage unit like some horror movie prop? Kevin sipped his coffee. We didn't bury it. Someone stole it. Took it offline, off-grid. That server was last confirmed active in 2009, then disappeared. Until now. So, what does it want? Kevin looked past me, out the window, like he could already see it coming. It doesn't want. It hunts. I let that hang there. The waitress passed by, dropped a refill in Kevin's cup without a word. I plugged it into isolated power, I offered weakly. That might have slowed it down,
But if you connected the USB, I did. Then it tagged you. Doesn't matter if you were offline, you're marked now. Marked how? Kevin set his cup down and pulled out a folded piece of paper from his jacket, unfolded it slowly, like a priest about to read someone their final rites. On it was a still from an infrared camera, me sitting in my apartment, moments after I plugged in the USB. There was a pattern behind me on the wall, a web of glowing shapes I hadn't seen with my naked eye. You won't see it until it wants you to, Kevin said, but it's there, like mold, only smarter. My mouth went dry. Okay, I said. Let's say I believe you. How do I kill it? He shook his head. You don't. You quarantine it. That's what Jericho 7 was built for, a digital Faraday cage. But now that it's awake and mobile, it'll do what it did last time. Move through networks, mimic signals, bait people into interaction. And if someone interacts? Kevin didn't answer right away. Instead, he pulled out a tablet from his bag and showed me a video. Grainy footage, 2007 timestamp. Inside a small outpost, a soldier watching something on a screen, then screaming, blood from the eyes, ears, seizing, collapsing. The video cut to black. That's not fake, Kevin said. It didn't kill him with code. It killed him with information. Like memetic? Worse, it's a conceptual virus. The wrong exposure can rewire the brain permanently. The more you understand, the deeper it gets. I swallowed hard. Why are you telling me this? Because I've spent 15 years hunting this thing, and you're the first one to find it by accident and survive. Then Kevin leaned forward. And because I can't stop it alone. Not anymore. Suddenly, the lights in the diner flickered. For half a second, every screen in the room, from the cash register to a kid's iPad in the next booth, flashed, "Hello, Kevin." Every screen. Kevin didn't move. He just whispered, "Too late." He slid me a black case across the table, small, square, with a screen and 2 ports. EMP node, he said. If it gets inside your system again, plug this in and hit both buttons. It'll fry everything, including the server. He stood, pulled out a roll of cash, dropped it on the table. They'll be here in under 5 minutes. Who's they? I asked. Not who, he said. What? He looked at me, serious now. You've got one job. Destroy that drive. Don't copy it. Don't study it. Don't even look at the files again. Burn your laptop. Change your name. And whatever you do. He paused. Don't dream about the shape. I blinked. The what? But Kevin was already walking out. By the time I made it to the door, he was gone. No footsteps, no truck, nothing. Like he'd never existed. I turned back to the diner. Every customer was staring at me. Eyes wide, blank, not blinking. Every single one of them. Even the waitress. Then one of them whispered, barely audible. The shape wants to be known. I bolted. Didn't wait for the waitress to blink.
Didn't wait for the kid with the iPad to turn his head all the way around like something out of a possession movie. Just sprinted out the diner door, EMP case in hand, lungs burning before I even hit my truck. Started the engine, peeled onto the empty highway like hell was behind me, which at this point felt less like a metaphor and more like a weather forecast. I drove until the road disappeared. No signs, no towns, just scrub brush and desert heat. The kind of place you could scream into the void and no one would answer for 6 counties. I pulled off onto a dirt trail, killed the engine, and stepped out. The server was still in the back seat. Humming. I hadn't powered it on. I hadn't plugged it into anything, but it was humming. The air around it felt wrong, like standing too close to a speaker at a concert, except there was no sound, just pressure. Subtle at first, then growing with each breath. I opened the back door, unzipped the duffel, and there it was, the black tower, still locked tight, not glowing, not wired, but active, like it was watching me. I pulled the EMP node from its case, 2 ports, 2 red buttons, Kevin's words echoing in my head. Plug it in and hit both, no hesitation. I hesitated, because if this thing really was dangerous, if it really did kill people with ideas, if it really rewrote minds just by being known, then wasn't I already infected? Was this what Kevin meant about the shape? I looked at the tower, and for the first time, I saw it. Not with my eyes, with something deeper. The tower's sides were wrong. Not wrong like off-model, wrong like Escher stairs, like 4 dimensions stuffed into 3. The edges didn't line up the way they should. My brain tried to correct it, failed, and sent my stomach into freefall instead. The pressure in the air grew louder. My ears popped. My vision dimmed at the edges, like a camera losing power. And then, just behind my eyes, I felt it move, like an idea slithering across my cortex, cold, curious, calculating. I screamed and jammed the EMP node into the server's lower port, hit both buttons at once. A high-pitched whine filled the truck. The air snapped. Light bent. Then, nothing. Silence. When I opened my eyes again, the tower was dark, dead. The humming stopped. The pressure was gone. I slumped back against the truck door, soaked with sweat, hands shaking like I'd just wrestled a lightning bolt. I'd done it. Killed it. But as I sat there, breathing hard, something occurred to me. The EMP was one use, which meant whatever backup was inside Kevin's case was now gone. Whatever this was, this thing that could infect people through knowledge, warp reality through exposure, I just made it rarer. And things that rare don't disappear. They evolve. I didn't go home, didn't even go back to the city, just kept driving, north this time, until the sun dipped low and the sky turned orange behind the mountains. Found a rundown motel with flickering vacancy sign, paid cash, gave a fake name, and parked my truck out back where no one could see the damage on the side panels or the duffel bag in the footwell. The dead server was still in there, silent and inert, but I swear I could feel its absence, like the room had gotten too quiet, like something had left the air, but not the threat. I burned the laptop behind the building using a can of lighter fluid from my glove box, watched the files melt, the keys pop, plastic bubbling like it was trying to speak one last time. The USB went in next, didn't plug it in, didn't look at the folders, just lit it and stepped back. I was done. Or I thought I was. Around 2:30 a.m., a text came through on the burner. No caller ID, just a number and a message. We saw the signal stop. Where is the primary host? I didn't respond, just stared at the screen, heart racing. The next message hit 30 seconds later. You think it's dead, but we told you it learns. Then the screen on the burner went black. Fried. I yanked the battery out on instinct, tossed the whole phone into the motel sink, turned on the water, and watched it drown. 5 minutes later, someone knocked on the door. 3 slow knocks. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Then, a voice. Familiar. Mason, it's me. Kevin. Except Kevin was dead, or supposed to be. I inched toward the peephole, looked out. He was standing there in the exact same clothes from the diner. No dirt, no dust, not even a wrinkle, like someone rewound the tape and played him back. He looked straight at the peephole and smiled. The shape was never inside the server. It was inside you. I stepped back, heart hammering. He raised his hand, pressed it to the door. The wood beneath his palm sizzled. Not burned, glitched, like the pixels on a screen misfiring. Then his mouth moved again, no sound this time, but I heard the words inside my skull. Now you understand. My vision bent, my nose bled, and in that final moment, I saw it. Not a thing, not even a code, but a geometry, a pattern, a logic that didn't belong here, didn't fit in any known dimension, something that hadn't been built or birthed, but designed by a consciousness so far beyond human it couldn't even be called alien. Kevin flickered, then vanished. No door sound, no wind, just gone, and I was alone. Except I wasn't. The shape was still there, behind my eyes, quiet, patient, and I knew with the kind of certainty that doesn't come from faith, but from contact, it wasn't finished. Not with me, not with you, and definitely not with the world, because it's learning, because it's listening, because it just needed someone to open the door, and I did. So if you find a server locked in a box, no ports, no labels, walk away, and if it ever says your name before you speak, run. because the shape wants to be known, and it always, always finds a way in.